Gordon has worked tirelessly for 15 years, and he's been bringing super yachts into the Asia Pacific region. Based in Phuket, Gordon is, his dream is to make Asia a home for super yachts. So Gordon, show us why super yachts should come to Thailand.
As some people might know, I'm new to Zoom, but I'm learning fast. Of course, with the aid of Susie and Nigel, it's been great. I'd like to thank them for letting us be on this APSA talk, and hopefully what I can do is give you a little bit of insight into Phuket and the Andaman Sea, and hopefully give you not just the beach side of things, but also a little bit more of what people can do. As Susie said, I've been on the island for a long time. I actually grew up in just outside London and moved here 23 years ago. In London, I used to work for a little company at that time called Apple. And at that time, Apple were really in the doldrums. They were basically bankrupt. And, you know, part of me wanted to stay there, but my sister was living in Phuket, and I decided that what I'll do is come here on a little holiday, go to Australia, do all of that, and then go back. Steve Jobs had actually said what was going to happen at Apple, and all of that came true. So as everybody knows, yeah, they're a very big company now. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. The first season I got here, I was working as a diver over in Phi Phi, and then I came over to Phuket and started to do what we've been doing now for 23 years. Just a little bit of info on the COVID situation. I know it's a hot topic and not a topic that everybody wants to discuss. What's happened in Thailand actually is we've got a bit of a success story in controlling COVID. I think up until yesterday, there was 15,000 cases of COVID and about 75 people have died with the COVID-related illness. So well done to the Thai government. They did close down quite early. I'm not sure if everybody knows, but I think Thailand was one of the first people to say that they had a COVID case here. So yeah, it has unfortunately decimated the tourist industry, but on the other side of it, we've had these kind of disasters before and we always come back bigger and stronger. So hopefully that will happen. So what I'm going to do is go through the changes in Phuket, and as you can see on your screen there, we've got on the left-hand side, we've got a map. I'm going to show you a whole overview. So excuse me to the people who have already been to Thailand, know where Thailand is and everything else, but here's Thailand. Of course, you've got Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam and Malaysia bordering it. And the big countries next door are Singapore, Hong Kong and China, as I'm sure we all know. And then if we look at the map on the other side, I'm going to talk to you today about Phuket and the Andaman Sea, which is on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, you have Koh Samui and the Gulf of Thailand. I won't really be talking about that. Hopefully, Susie and Nigel will introduce Charlie Dwyer, Captain Charlie Dwyer, into one of these sessions, hopefully if they do another lot, as he's the expert for that area. And he's lived there for 20 years and he knows the area inside out. Just to let you know, both areas have a similar topography, basically rainforest, because we get a lot of rain and we get a lot of sun. And of course, the golden sandy beaches and the clear blue water. There is one difference weather-wise, which is a little bit to do, I'm not sure what it's to do with, but we have Koh Samui on that side, and their actual high season is from March until August. And we have Phuket on the other side, and our season is from November till April. You can get away with a cruise in May. You can actually cruise a little bit of Phuket in our low season, but I'll get to that a little bit later. So another thing to focus on is piracy. A lot of people in Europe especially talk about piracy, and there is piracy, of course, in the Red Sea, which is quite far away from us now. We have never, since I've been here, we have never had a piracy attack in Phuket or the surrounding areas. So everybody is safe when they come here. Thai people are lovely and it's great, easy cruising. So please don't think of piracy when you're coming here. There is piracy down in the Malacca Straits, but it's all highly organized piracy, and they're attacking commercial ships. So make sure that you know about that. So here's a little video. Because of the streaming, it's going a little bit slow. It's not me. And I thought I'd do little pictures and videos of, there's some beaches. This is Phuket. And then also give you an overview. This is a stunning bay. There are many bays like this where the boat can anchor outside and then bring the tender in, and the guests can go and enjoy the scenery and the warmth of Thailand, I think is the best way to describe it. Okay, so one of the reasons why Phuket has developed the way it has is, of course, we have a big international airport. And as that plane landed there, you probably saw the beach. There is a beach there where you can actually watch the planes land, a little bit like in St. Martin, although it's not as famous as St. Martin. Now, Phuket International Airport, when I got here, was a small, really a domestic airport. And what would happen is we would fly down to Singapore or Hong Kong, there were flights to, but the main flights were going to Bangkok. And as the tourism has grown, so have the flights. Now you can fly directly from Phuket to Australia, New Zealand. You can still do, I think there's 15 flights a day going to Singapore, Hong Kong, about 4 flights a day. The Middle Eastern hubs, Europe have flights. And of course, our friends in China. Of course, these guys are now flying a lot more than 10 years ago. And I mean, there's cities that I've never heard the name of with 10 million people in there, and the planes are coming every day. So it's really become a big factor in why the tourism has grown. Just to give you a little stat, there was 9 million arrivals at Phuket International Airport in 2019. So here, of course, we've got another beautiful beach. And for those of you who are sitting in Europe, I apologize. This is what we live with every day. And, you know, unfortunately, I'm normally in the office in the high season, but we do get to get out and we do get to see everything in the low season. So it's not that bad. And hopefully one day, if you haven't been here before, I strongly recommend it. So one thing that wasn't actually born out of the tourism industry is we actually have a lot of world-class golf courses here. So the Thais got into golf in the 70s, 80s, and through that, they built quite a lot of golf courses. So if you have any owners or guests who want to play golf, they're well catered for. And we actually have a PGA course here in Phuket, which is a Blue Canyon course. And Tiger Woods won the Johnny Walker Classic there in 1998. So we have had some big players come. And of course, the Thais want the courses to be immaculate, and they're very, very nice. So now we go on to the spa capital of Asia. I call it the spa capital of Asia. There's some lovely ladies giving another lady a massage there. Of course, what can we say about massage? Everybody loves it. It's great. But I think the difference now is what the spas are doing, and they're doing a lot more of the holistic healing. We're seeing a lot more of the wellness centers, especially in Koh Samui. If owners want, we can put a masseuse or get their nails done on the yacht. We've done that quite a lot. Also, what actually happens now is Thailand has become a very big area for people to do plastic surgery and procedures. And when I say procedures, I mean things like boob jobs and other items which might be removed or changed. So it's not just the spas that are happening. There's a whole beautification industry, should we say, coming up and about. So obviously, again, you're welcome. And I mean, for the normal traveler, of course, the spas are so cheap here, it's rude not to. Another activity which has become very big is Muay Thai boxing. Now, I wouldn't go in with that fella. I definitely wouldn't go in with that girl, because they would definitely knock me out very quickly. But it's actually very big business here. And what we're getting now is, of course, we're getting even people from the UFC. So Dana White from the UFC was here a couple of years ago, training in these gyms and sending over their UFC fighters. One of the things that we've actually done, which has been great for the guests, is we've actually got the boat to sponsor a primetime fight. And what will happen is the owner of the boat will give a cash prize, not that much money, but they'll also give a cup, an extra cup. And so the fight will then be renamed as the boat name, and the owners love it because it's something a little bit different. So then we go on to things like beach clubs. Now, when I first got here, really what used to happen is we used to go to little bars on the beach, and they were little wooden huts and little structures. And, you know, they were great because you had your feet in the sand and you can talk to your friends, and, you know, some people could still get a suntan if they needed it. Not that I need it. But also, what happened with the event now of extra tourism are these kind of flash beach clubs. And look, I think the best is you can get the best of both worlds out of these beach clubs. So for us in particular, owners like to go to the little wooden hut, but they also like to go to somewhere which has got a proper floor, a very decent champagne, and somewhere where they can relax and mingle with other people of their own kind, shall we say. So the beach clubs have definitely come a long way. Phuket definitely leads the way with the beach club scene. But on the outer islands, there are mainly, actually on the mainland, there's a couple of beach clubs, but Phuket's definitely leading the way on what you can do. I actually, funny enough, went to a beach club on Saturday, and I'll get to the provisioning a little bit later, but they had a fig and blue cheese pizza. Now, you know, coming from Little Watford in the UK, I'd never had a fig and blue cheese pizza, and I can tell you it was absolutely fantastic. So there's one. If you're ever this way, it's not just Thai food. Another thing which owners really like to do out here is visit temples. Not all owners, but we definitely have quite a few owners who want to go and see what the Thai culture is. And as you can see from the video there, there's some great images. And also this goes back a little bit to what I was talking earlier about the piracy. Thais, anybody who's been here, know it's the land of smiles, know the people are lovely, know that you're going to get a warm welcome, but also they're very honest people. And, you know, there are things, e.g., you know, crew member has left their phone in a bar, and they track these people down, the owners of the bar track the crew members down the next day and say, well, here's your phone, you know. I'm not sure that happens everywhere, but it has happened a lot here. And, you know, that's why I think as well, the piracy, you know, the Thais aren't so materialistic. So, you know, it leads to, you know, for us a great life because, you know, they really are lovely, genuine people. So here we've got another shot of some more beaches. Again, apologies to the guys in Europe. You know, I know it's probably cool out there. Okay. And then what we have now, some of the most amazing luxury villas and hotels. You know, again, when I first got here, we had a couple of 5-star hotels. And, you know, the Armampuri was built, which is the real 6-star hotel here. They had already been here for a while. But now, really, what we think happened is, of course, the flights have made a big difference. But in 2004, we had, of course, a devastating tsunami. And with that, basically, CNN were reporting from Phuket, Thailand, and so were the BBC, along with other news outlets. So we think that out of the bad came good, because after that, a lot of people came from Europe and other countries to Thailand, and that really is what fueled the luxury villa market. And now it's easy to see villas between the 10 and $30 million mark US. And also you can see, you know, for the owners, there's a good return on some of them. I mean, one of the clients that we have, he rents his villa out. It is an 8-bedroom villa, and it's got stunning views and a private beach, but in the high season, $28,000 a night. So I think it shows you coming from that bungalow, beach style, relaxed attitude. They're still relaxed, I'm sure they are, but it's a totally different world. And of course, there's the spas and everything else. And as you can see, infinity pools all built in. So it makes for a great lifestyle. So I thought what we'll also do is we'll touch a little bit on entertainment. And that's more because what we have definitely seen over the last few years is the entertainment in regards to children. There's been, when I first got here, it was mainly adults that came, and we'd get a few families. But recently, really over the last 4 or 5 years, we're seeing a lot more families come here. So of course, with families come kids, and they need to be entertained. And of course, you've got the diving, the snorkeling, everything else, you know, which they can do on the boat, and that's great. But, you know, if they want to do other things, then of course we're a holiday island. So you have the things like the go-karts, the ATVs, whitewater rafting, they don't do so much, but it's here if they want it. But the one thing I really wanted to mention are the elephants, because of course, when I came here 23 years ago, I took a ride on an elephant, and I'm sure a lot of people have done. But of course, as those elephants get older, it gets harder for the manhooks and the people who own them to keep them, because as you can see by their size, they eat a lot. So one of the things which has happened is there have been a lot of eco-elephant camps set up. And as you can see by that picture, basically what happens is you're not allowed to ride them, you know, treat them badly, but you're allowed to swim with them and walk with them and let them be in their own environment and let them have their own time. And honestly, the owners that we've had go to it, and it's been quite a few, have all loved it. So it's an experience that everybody should try, but maybe you don't want to buy an elephant for your own house. So, and yet another thing, when I first got here, shopping. So of course, Thailand is famous for its markets and everything that goes with the market, i.e. food and knickknacks and bags. And you can see, you know, in the bottom corner there, you know, the guy cooking, and also the little bags, etc. they're selling. What's really happened is the market has gone from a place where it was just fake goods to now them selling their own goods, mainly made up north, and they send them down. But now, instead of selling the Louis Vuitton rip-off bag, they're selling their own bag. You know, they're still the Louis Vuitton rip-offs, but it's definitely not as prevalent. And I think one of the reasons for that is the government has been doing a bit of work trying to stop that. But also because we now also have the brand names here. So the Gucci's, the Prada, the Hermes, the Louis Vuitton, they actually have a big store in the center of the island. So now for owners, there's all kinds of shopping. So if that's what they want to do, before we used to send them to Singapore or Hong Kong or even Bangkok, now the owners can actually do it here. So it makes it a lot easier for us, and the owners, of course, it makes it a bigger attraction. You know, the family who actually own Central Phuket there, they've actually just built shopping malls in Italy to the tune of 150 million euros. So there are some very rich ties there in Thailand, of course, and now there is a big middle class coming up. So it's making for interesting times out here, I think, is the best way to describe it. So here again, we've got some more lovely beaches and some more crystal clear water. Some of the outer islands, that's Chicken Island there. Lovely little bays, and this is what you get when you cruise around here. So it's definitely a brilliant cruising area. As I had said earlier, our cruising period is really between November and April, maybe May. What actually happens is there is wind during the King's Cup, January time, and then the wind up until January time. The King's Cup's in December. And then what happens is mid-February, March and April, it really, the wind dies down. So it's flat as a pancake for cruising. And again, for the owners who get seasick, you know, now, of course, there's zero speed stabilizers, but, you know, it just makes it easier getting in and out of tenders and accessing areas. So, you know, it's just another plus for the destination. So again, when I first got here, there was one marina. Now, as you can see, this is all footage from the marinas. There is now actually 5 marinas in Phuket and 2 marinas over in Krabi. And you know, the way the marinas have developed for us, of course, has been fantastic. And you can see there, the marina, that marina can take 80, 90 meters. They've had a 90-meter boat in there. There is another marina that can actually handle a 130-meter boat. So now we've gone from an area where there wasn't a lot to there's more. There's these marinas, but there's more coming. And there's 2 marinas over in Krabi, as I said. So the big difference, I think, is, I think Richard sort of talked about it a little bit earlier. Before when I first got here, we were just looking after the people who were coming on a world cruise, and that was it. Then slowly we were getting regular clients, but now we're getting actual Asian owners. So it makes things totally different. And, you know, the guys in Bangkok have always had the money, but they've just never really been introduced to the yachts. So it's great that, you know, now we've got the marinas and there's more coming, and it's hopefully going to make it for exciting times here. Shipyards. Okay, unfortunately, well, we do have shipyards, but unfortunately, the maximum at the moment we can cater for is 35-meter boats. That's mainly because of the tide. However, there is a shipyard coming up, and the owner has already got the land, and he has actually already ordered a 500-ton travel lift. So we are hoping that in the future there is going to be a super yacht shipyard here. It's on its way, and here there are a lot of things that need to be done, the biggest being an environmental impact assessment. So hopefully, if he can get over that hurdle, I think he's nearly there, we shall be seeing a nice, shiny new shipyard soon. Let's hope anyway. So I touched on it a little bit earlier. Of course, when I first got to the island, the only thing we couldn't even buy loaves of bread. The only thing you could have was rice, and more rice, because that's what the locals had. Now, my goodness, it has changed immensely. I mentioned my fig and blue cheese pizza earlier, but strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, everything is available. Canadian lobsters, you know, Vindiclair oysters. You know, am I making you hungry? I hope I am. But it's all available, and you know, it's on supermarket shelves. We of course do a provisioning service, and of course, if people need provisions to go to the outer islands, as you can see by that little speedboat there, we can pack everything and get everything taken over there. So you know, it makes it so that if the owner doesn't want to come back here, of course they can keep cruising. At the end of the day, we want them to have a great time. So we've got another video here of scenery. But here, what I think I wanted to mention, and here they come, are of course the monkeys. So there are monkeys on quite a few beaches. It is actually a fair attraction to quite a few owners. They do want to see monkeys. So, you know, apart from the sea life, I think monkeys are normally asked, where can we see monkeys, especially, of course, if they've got children. And, of course, in Phuket, there's monkeys. In Pangnar Bay, there's an island with monkeys, Krabi. But in PP, there's a place called Monkey Beach. So we normally send them over there, and they get very happy, and they go away. So monkeys and elephants are the big on land. So charter rules. Okay, so here in Phuket, as you can see by that lovely yacht Vertigo there, they have been coming here on and off since they got built, and they're a charter boat. Now, at the moment, the law stands that you cannot charter here unless you have a lovely Thailand flag. But that rule makes it very difficult for the big yachts for the simple reason that you need to pay 7% of the value of the yacht in tax before you can Thai register it. And also you have to have a Thai captain and a Thai engineer on board. So there are two things which very much hamper Thai flagging. Also, one thing which is unfortunate for us is it makes the value of the boat a little lower. But like most things in Thailand, there's a way around this. And the way around this is what we do, and I'll show you some maps a little bit later, is the yachts that want to charter, they start the charter in Phuket and they finish the charter in Langkawi, Malaysia. That way they do an international passage and therefore it's basically legal for them to charter. Now, there has been a lot of work done by the TYBA, which is the body here, and Andy Treadwell, I'm sure a lot of people will know him from the Thailand Yacht Show, in trying to get a charter license, a legal charter working license here. The government are actually behind it and they want to do it. But as with a lot of Southeast Asian countries, there's a lot of officials who pop up and say, okay, well, what about this rule and what about that rule? So there's been a lot of work done, and I think they did a 60-page assessment, which they gave to the government last week. And so hopefully in the future, it will be a lot easier. But for now, yachts can charter still here. So, you know, it's worth bringing a boat because, of course, it's a great cruising area. One other thing to note is that lovely beach behind Vertigo there is one of the beaches that we use for beach setups and beach barbecues. Everybody, again, on board a yacht loves a beach barbecue. And now it is getting harder to do it because there's a lot of rules and regulations in places like Phuket. But as you get further south, there's less tourists and you can have areas like that all to the guests. The guests can have it all to themselves, and so it's lovely. So as I said, I didn't want to show too many pictures of too many beaches and too many golden waters, but one of the jewels in the crown is the Similan Islands, and it's actually 60 miles north of Phuket, and it was made in the 70s, it was made a national park. So this is one of the main areas for scuba diving, which I'll come on to in a minute. But it's a fantastic area, and swimming, scuba diving, snorkeling. There's no hotels on the islands. There's actually 9 islands that make up the Similans, but it's a fantastic cruising area. And even if you're not a diver, it's definitely worth a visit for a swim or a snorkel. And then we come on to world-class diving. I think a lot of people know that Phuket and the surrounding waters and even the Koh Samui area has some fantastic diving. I'm a diver myself and I love it. One of the things that I still haven't seen is a whale shark. So if anybody's got a boat and they want to take me out, I'm available. I'd love to see a whale shark. It's on the bucket list. And we have had actually whale sharks come into the bay in Pangnar Bay when I first got here and sit for a couple of days. Less and less sightings of them, unfortunately, these days, but they're still around, and you know they'll hang around for 2, 3, maybe 2, 3 days, maybe a week. But also other things that you can see, of course, as you saw that manta ray, leopard sharks, grey tip, white tip sharks. So there's some beautiful coral here as well. So there's some great diving. Not only in the Similans, there's Koh Bon, Koh Chai, Phi Phi, Hindeng, Hin Muang. So again, it's one of the things which owners do come here for is the diving, and of course, it's great. So this is Pangnar Bay, one of the bays. It's absolutely stunning. You have all these limestone islands, which basically have been pushed up. And what's happened is, of course, they're very soft. So the rain sticks and then the vegetation grows, and then you have these beautiful beaches in there. The Man with the Golden Gun, the James Bond film, was filmed there many, many years ago. You also saw a clip of some Thai dancers. One of the things that we've done a lot of is put shows onto boats. So as people are cruising, you know, the owners after dinner can have a show, and that's ranged from everything from magicians to Thai dancers. We do actually have a ladyboy show, but it's very tasteful and it's family friendly. So there's lots of other things that we can do whilst the owner's cruising. So now we go on to regattas and of course the Thailand Yacht Show. So Phuket actually has 3 regattas. We have the King's Cup in early December. We have the Pangnar Bay Regatta, which follows normally Chinese New Year, whenever that is. And we have Phuket Race Week, which is in July. So those are the 3 main regattas that we have now. Now, out of the 3, the King's Cup is probably the most well-known, and we get a lot more of the professional sailors flying in to do the King's Cup. But it's still a great event if you just want to charter a boat and go out. Also, the Pangnar Bay Regatta and the Phuket Race Week, they're more of what you would call a fun regatta. So yes, there are cups to go for, but people generally want to soak the atmosphere up, make new friends, and go for a high quality, good fun sail. So it's good for us. Now, one thing which I just didn't mention there was the Thailand Yacht Show. We have a Thailand Yacht Show here every January, and that's the current time frame. It has moved around a bit. And again, if owners are here and they want to buy a new tender or they want to get new equipment, then that's the show to go to. Okay, so as promised, I'll give you a little bit of information on routes. And as I had said earlier, for us, there's really 2 routes. But what I try to do is, if yachts are coming, I do try and say, if the owner has time, you know, rather than just doing the Phuket route, you've got the Maldives, you've got Sri Lanka, you've got Myanmar, you've got the Andaman Islands, you've got Phuket, you've got Malaysia. You know, there's a whole set of places where the owner can go if they have the time and availability. And of course, you know, it just gives the owner more options. So, I mean, with the Andaman Islands, they're closer to us. I haven't put them on as a route, but the Andaman Islands are where you can do some great fishing. So on that route map there, basically you go from Phuket down to Langkawi. And then our next route map is from the north of Thailand. Okay, so as you can see, Phuket is just below the Khao Lak mark. And you can see that video, don't miss that video. And basically from Phuket, you can then cruise doing these northern islands, which just below that is Surin Island, sorry, the Similan Island, Surin, and then you can check into Khao Tong, and then you can do a cruise. This is what we call the northern cruise for us, and then do the Mergui Archipelago in Myanmar. I won't mention too much about that because that's not why I'm here today, but it's just a route that we actually take. And just to mention, on those islands, there's 800 islands up there, all with that beautiful golden beach and crystal clear water, and there's nobody living on them. And maybe 6 or 7 now have hotels as things have developed up there, but it's still a lovely, amazing cruising ground. Okay, so now we're going on to Pangnar Bay and Krabi, and this is actually on the mainland there. There's a beautiful temple at the top. And one thing which people may or may not know about is Krabi and PP have now a lot of rock climbing going on. So rock climbers are coming from all over the world, and we have actually had a boat come here specifically to do rock climbing. The owner and his wife were into rock climbing, and that's how they met. And yeah, so they came here specifically for a rock climbing cruise as such. And as you can see from those rocks there, it's lovely over there. So that's it from me. I want to once again thank Susie, Nigel, and the APSA team for having me. And I'd like to thank all of you guys for taking the time to watch and hear me. I hope it's been interesting for you. And as Susie had said, basically, I'm open to any questions either now or later. And thank you for your time. Over to you, Susie.